Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 14 of Keep It Clean with Manny Robles. I'm your host, the Fighters Rep, along with your notorious co-host, the King of California, Manny Robles. Manny, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing very well, George. Happy to be with you on another Monday, another week of Keep It Clean. Week number 14. Can you believe that, George?
I can't believe it, Manny. I can't believe it, but we're
Wow.
doing it. We're doing it big,
We're
brother.
doing it.
Manny, first and foremost, man, how are you doing? We haven't seen you in a week. You know, things have been going pretty busy. I just wanted to see how you were doing and how you're holding up out there.
I'm holding up very well. Thank you for asking. Staying busy at the gym. We got some fights lined up. I got a fight. A kid fighting this Saturday on a top rank card. Which a great top rank card, by the way, with Jose Ramirez being the main event. Finally, after a long wait, where his fight has been postponed twice because of the coronavirus.
Wow.
And as they say, third time's a charm. So, finally he's gonna square get an opportunity to step into the ring and make another title defense.
I love it, Manny. I love it. So, you're staying active during this pandemic, this downtime. Boxing's coming back, though, Manny. Boxing is coming back, brother.
Yes, sir. I got Christopher Zavala fighting the undercard of Jose Ramirez this Saturday in Las Vegas at the Bubble in the Indian Grand. And the top rank Bubble is, and I'm looking forward to it.
I love it, Manny. I love it. So, we've had, quite an eventful past week or so in boxing, Manny. There's a lot we need to cover, Manny. It is, and as someone who, is definitely deeply entrenched into the game, first and foremost, we got to touch on the heavyweight division, Manny. And I got to admit, Manny, it was a heartbreaker for me, brother, watching. Oh, my goodness. Watching former world championship, or at least European championship kickboxer turned, WBC mandatory Dillian Whyte get KO'd like that against Alexander Povetkin. Manny, were you able to watch that?
Yes, I did. Dillian Whyte was a dominant fight. Actually, control of the entire fight up until the knockout. When it happened. And it was a good fight. It was a good performance by both, but obviously even more so by Dillian Whyte up until he got caught.
Yeah. I mean, it's another huge shakeup in the heavyweight division, Manny.
Yes, all the things I've always said. All is one punch in boxing, man. And unfortunately for Dillian Whyte, he had to suffer the consequences. And he got knocked out, man. And what's funny is that they've caught each other with the same punch. First, Dillian Whyte caught him left uppercut and dropped Povetkin,
Right,
and eventually came right back with the same left uppercut. Beautiful combination, by the way. The way he set it up was beautiful. Stepping over the side, right middle with left uppercut, right on the button, and lights out, man. Just went down and didn't recuperate. He knocked him out. That was not a TKO. That was a knockout for sure.
Manny, that looked incredibly calculated to me on behalf of Alexander Povetkin. There's so much to unpack about this fight. Do you have kind of any thoughts on Povetkin before I start, asking you questions here about this fight?
Povetkin is an experienced fighter. He's hit the deck in the past. He's been able to get back up. Unfortunately for him, he lost to Anthony Joshua by knockout. He lost to the Klitschko's by. He also lost to. I'm not sure if he lost by decision or by knockout to one of the Klitschko brothers. but he did suffer the defeat by the Klitschko, by one of the Klitschko's. And he's a veteran fighter. He's been around the block. He's fought some of the best heavyweights in boxing, and it just so happened that this was another tough fight for Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte. I thought Dillian Whyte was gonna go ahead and run away with the victory, possibly get the knockout in the later rounds, because he definitely had control of the fight, control of the momentum. Definitely was a better fighter up until the moment he got caught. It's boxing, especially in the heavyweight division. All it takes is one punch, man.
Yeah.
And these heavy never count them out. You can never count out especially somebody like Povetkin. He's got pop. He's got power in him, and then fists. So did it come as a surprise? Yes, it did. Povetkin isn't getting any younger. He's in his 40s now, slowing down a bit. But the one thing you don't lose, you can lose speed, you can lose reflexes, you can lose your leg, you can lose everything in boxing. But the one thing you don't never lose is power. If you can crack, it doesn't matter, what age you're in, what age you're at. You know what I mean? But if you can crack, you can definitely knock somebody out at any given moment.
Manny, he lost to Vladimir Klitschko back on October 5th, 2013. It was a unanimous decision loss.
Unanimous decision, right? Wow.
He hasn't lost a fight since then, not until he fought Anthony Joshua on September 22nd, 2018. So he basically went 5 years without losing. And then, we mentioned his fight in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Where I thought he lost.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
I thought he lost to Michael Hunter. And then Dillian Whyte fought on the same card as well, when I didn't think that was Dillian Whyte's best performance, to be honest with you. He did win. He won by decision, but he didn't impress me.
Yeah.
And I thought this fight, would definitely. I thought in this fight he would definitely come in and prepared better, more so than he was when he fought in Saudi Arabia. And I just thought I think he was going to dominate. Well, he was. Like I said, he was dominating the fight.
Yeah.
He had control of the fight up until the moment he got caught.
Very unfortunate turn of events for Dillian Whyte, Manny. A guy who's been toiling away, Manny. A lot of people say he was mandatory for over 1,000 days.
Right. It's a little unfair. I think it's a little unfair for Dillian Whyte. Maybe he got tired of waiting. Maybe he underestimated Povetkin a bit. Maybe he was too relaxed at the time when the knockout happened. It can happen sometimes with when things seem to be going away. Fighters sometimes they get a little overconfident, but it's up to the corner, it's up to the coaches or the head coach in this case to remind them, hey, listen, don't get too confident, don't get too overconfident. I know you got control of the situation, but you got to stay focused. You cannot lose focus. Not in boxing, you can. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't afford to make them type of mistakes, and he did it. He paid the price for it, and he got knocked out.
Manny, do you think? I mean, that was such a beautiful punch by Alexander Povetkin. I mean the setup, and I want to get into that with you a little bit too, because I saw throughout the fight, I saw him setting that punch up, and I'll kind of explain to you what I saw. You tell me if I'm crazy or not, because you're the coach. You know what I mean? But I mean, is it really on Dillian Whyte lack of skill, or was this just a punch that was just gonna land from destiny, Manny? I mean, this punch, after getting dropped 2 times, right? 40 years old, Alexander Povetkin. This is the last roll of the dice. This is the last spin of the chamber in Russian roulette for a 40-year-old, Alexander Povetkin, Manny. And he rolls the dice and lands the absolute perfect punch to revive his career.
Right.
to
Uh-huh.
Manny, we've been talking about this fight for over a month, me and you.
Yes, we have.
And we thought Dillian Whyte was going to win. We both thought the same way. And
What?
this guy, I mean, revamps his career, Manny, with one punch. I'm going crazy over here, man.
Listen, George. Let me just say something real quick. You've been talking about this fight for over a month. I've been tagging along
I'm
with you
sorry.
because I know you're a huge Dylan
I
White fan.
am. I am. I
You're a
am.
big fan of Dylan White, so you know you care. You talking about the fight, and like I said, man, he was doing a good job up until
Yeah.
the moment he
Yeah.
got caught, and that's boxing for you. Like I mentioned a minute ago, maybe he was just too relaxed, too overconfident, knowing that he had put Povetkin on the canvas twice, knowing he was dominating the fight, pretty much running away from with the win,
Yeah.
and he got caught with a beautiful setup. You know what I mean? Slip to the left, come up the middle with that left uppercut. It was nice. It was what
Incredible.
you call poetry. It's what you call poetry in motion.
Oh, don't do it to me, Manny. Don't do it to me,
Hey, I
brother.
got to. I got to. Hey, listen, I also picked Dylan White to win the fight, but
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you, you don't always get what you want.
Like you said, heavyweight boxing, Manny. Like you said, one good punch in any division changes the game, but especially in the heavyweight division. That's something you pointed out that a lot of people, I think, are failing to point out, right? Is this could happen in any division, but it especially could happen in the heavyweight division. Isn't that right, Manny?
Especially in a heavyweight division. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look what
Yeah,
happened with
yeah.
Fury and Wilder, where Fury managed to deck. I'm sorry, Wilder managed to deck Fury twice.
Yeah.
The first fight, that is,
Yeah.
and wasn't able to get the knockout.
Right.
Fury managed to get back up and walk away with the draw.
Manny,
But
if
that was, I mean, that's especially somebody like Fury and again
Wilder.
Wilder.
Yeah.
Wilder, man, he's got that huge knockout power with that right hand. I mean, you can't get too confident. You can't get too relaxed. And
Yeah.
look at Wilder versus Ortiz.
Right.
Ortiz was dominating both of those fights. He was running circles on Wilder
Big
up
time.
until the moment Wilder caught Ortiz, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, it was
That's
a wrap.
All it takes is one punch, man. Especially in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. My goodness, poetry in motion is the right phrase, Manny. Almost, they say over 1,000 years. I mean, this is the heartbreak for me, Manny.
Right.
Over 1,000, days. They say over 1,000 days is mandatory for the WBC title. He's been calling everybody out. In actuality, Manny, my understanding is he wasn't mandatory for over 1,000 days. My understanding is he became mandatory when he beat Oscar Rivas. That's when he officially became mandatory with the WBC, although there's some funkiness to that because he should have been mandatory before that. But he became mandatory when he beat Oscar Rivas. That kind of went away when he got, popped for whatever substance they tried popping him for. Then they reinstated it when he proved himself innocent. But still, he was the mandatory. He was the WBC interim title holder. He was next in line. And the reason I love this guy, Manny, I love this guy, and I'm going to give you a few reasons.
Okay.
2016 fights Derek Chisora in a hell of a fight. 2017 and wins. 2017 fights Robert Helenius. Then Lucas Brown. Then Joseph Parker. Then Derek Chisora again, knowing it's a dangerous fight, and knocks Chisora out. Then he fights Rivas, who they say beat Andy Ruiz in the amateurs, a very dangerous guy, a very dangerous Colombian fighter, and that was for the interim title. After that, he fought Walk, and then he went in there against Povetkin. I mean, it may not sound like much to the casual fan, Manny, But that is one of the best, if we're being honest, best resumes in heavyweight boxing right now. I would say Anthony Joshua probably has the best one. That's just my opinion. But to see a resume like this, a guy who's constantly challenging himself, get laid out in that fashion, Manny, by a 40-year-old Alexander Povetkin, who we're thinking this is his swan song, Manny. I was blown away.
Listen, man, anything can happen in boxing. Look at you mentioned Hellenius. Remember what he did to
Kownacki.
Kownacki.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Remember what he did to Kownacki? Kownacki was a favorite in that fight. He knocked him out. And I'm sure 9 out of 10 times. I'm sure 9 out of the 10 times, Dillian Whyte will beat Povetkin, or Kownacki will beat Hellenius. But it just so happens that one time
right,
happened now, and they're talking about a rematch already for later in the year. So I'm looking forward to it again.
The white one or the Hellenius one?
White.
Yeah, no, it looks like they had a rematch clause in the contract, and like you said, it'll be happening probably before the end of the year. Manny,
right?
Back to that punch. Real quick, I want to talk about what I saw as a setup. Kind of get your opinion. Over and over again, I saw Alexander Povetkin undeterred, right? Undeterred. Over and over again, I saw him throw a high attack and then change levels and go low. One combo that I saw a lot from him was like a right hook to the head, left hook to the body. I saw him keep doing it over and over and over again, Manny. And then I felt like in the fourth round, when Dillian Whyte caught him with the same punch, that was the first time that I saw Povetkin go kind of high and then a left uppercut instead of a left hook to the body. And then he did it again in the fifth round. I mean, it's almost like he created a pattern where he was throwing the right hook to the head and then a left hook to the body, and then he switched it up. He switched it up and went right down the pipe. I mean, is that, am I accurate there, or am I just talking like an amateur here,
accurate. Man? No, definitely. I can see what you're saying. I see. I'm picturing what you're explaining to me at this moment, and then going back to the fight. Yeah, I mean, he did his homework. And I'm sure they had a game plan, and that's what that was. Because the way he set up that combination was great. It's something that you work on at the gym. It wasn't luck. As they say, how you work is how you fight. I'm sure that was something that they went ahead and then they studied from Dillian Whyte, and that they worked on at the gym, and he executed the move, the combination, and it worked for him, and he got the knockout.
What a beautiful shot, Manny. And again, I kind of want to get back to that punch. Manny, was that just, there's no lucky punches, right? But is that something that you can really put a lot of blame on what Dillian Whyte for? What does Dillian Whyte have to change in order for that punch not to land next time?
You know what I think? I just think he needs to be. I think, like I said, he was doing a good job. Maybe he got a little too relaxed.
Yeah.
Maybe he got a little too comfortable in that ring, and like he had a. Too much, and again, perhaps he got too comfortable, he got too overconfident, and got caught with that left uppercut. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens in boxing. You got to stay focused. You got to stay in the zone from beginning to end. Consistency. The job isn't done yet. It's the fight. What they said. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, and that's what happened.
Yeah, Manny.
And he got caught.
Manny, so you cut out a little bit. So what you were saying is you just feel like he was getting a little too relaxed in there, basically.
Yeah, a little too relaxed and too overconfident.
Yeah.
And my
Manny? Oh, we lost Manny. Let me try to connect with him again, guys. One moment. Manny, you there?
Yes, here. Hold on.
Okay, we lost you for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear us? One moment. One moment, guys. I apologize. You there, Manny?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I don't know. We're getting shaky on the connection here again,
I'm
brother.
moving. I'm moving places. I don't want the same thing to happen that happened last week. Okay, here we go again.
It's all good. It's all good. So as Manny is kind of shifting gears there. So Manny, you were basically just saying Dillian Whyte may have lost a little bit of focus. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's hope we can. We don't go through the same thing we went through last week.
There we go. We're in the kitchen now, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. I'm in my dining area. Look, I think it's the heat wave.
It has been hellacious. It has been
Right? I
hellacious
think
lately.
it's this crazy heat wave we've been having, man. I'm telling you. But let's hope we can stay in tune.
So Manny, I mean, I think you have a good point there with him kind of getting relaxed. I did notice that during that knockout punch, I mean, instead of guarding like he was typically doing, he kind of went for a counter there. He probably saw that he had dropped Povetkin a couple times in the previous round. Do you think he probably thought he had him reeling, he had him about done? Let me go for this counter and get him out of there.
Perhaps maybe even moving in for the kill. You know what I noticed? The same thing. I'm going to change the topic a little bit and go into another fight. I noticed the same thing with Joe Smith and Yildirim Alvarez.
Oh my God!
What a fight that was!
Great fight.
But for a moment, I thought that Joe Smith was getting a little too relaxed because he was dominating the entire fight pretty much, and he got caught with a couple of left hooks from Yildirim. And I'm like, man, he better pick it up. I mean, he better stay in the zone and not get too confident because Yildirim can definitely. He's not as big a puncher as someone like Povetkin, but nonetheless, when you get too overly relaxed, too overconfident, these type of things will happen. They'll come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah, and he can crack a little for sure, Manny. I remember he's the one that knocked out Sergey. He knocked out Sergey Kovalev. So I mean, he's no joke. Later's no joke, and yeah, I saw that knockout too. I mean, Joe Smith, Manny. What are your thoughts on Joe Smith? I mean, that guy,
I like him. I like what I saw, man. I like what I saw Saturday night from Joe Smith. I believe he's a better fighter now. He's definitely a better fighter. This guy's had his jaw broken twice in two different fights. Obviously, two different fights, two different occasions. Yeah. He had his jaw broken, and he still goes out there, man. He doesn't quit. He's got no quit in him.
Yeah.
And man, I love what I saw from him Saturday night. The way he stayed busy, the way he dominated Yildirim, and combination punches, speed, power, putting his punches together, placing his punches right. I love what I saw. I definitely saw Joe Smith. Did a great job.
Manny, he's a strong guy. He's a tough guy.
Yep.
But do you think, I mean, here the problem I think he has is he's in a very tough division. The champions in that division are very tough. I'm thinking Dmitry Bivol, who he's fought and lost to already. And I'm thinking Artur Beterbiev, who's just an absolute savage, Manny. I mean, I would not want to, put my guy in there against Beterbiev.
Yo, you forgot to mention
Canelo, but I don't think Canelo's going to stay at that weight class, Manny.
Remember, he's, he won the light heavyweight title.
Yeah. I mean, but do you think he stays at that weight class, Manny?
Definitely not. He's definitely not staying. As a matter of fact, Yildirim versus Joe Smith, that was for the title eliminator, WBO title eliminator. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the same title that Canelo had won versus Kovalev, and then relinquished the title. Am I correct?
You may be. I'm going to have to Google that real quick. I'm not exactly 100% sure. But I mean, if
Yeah,
Canelo relinquishes the title, then Joe Smith,
yeah.
I guess, automatically would become the champion, right? Or maybe he'd.
No, because they didn't fight for the world title. It was a title eliminator. There was a double eliminator. Joe Smith versus Eleider Alvarez, and there's two other fighters. I can't mention their names. I mean, the European
Yeah,
fighters, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
So I would have a hard time, mentioning their
It's all
names. To
good.
be
It's
honest
all
with you,
good.
but it's another. That's a second eliminator which hasn't came up yet. So the winner of that fight is fighting I'm sorry, Joe Smith for the world title. That's the same title that Canelo won, but never defended. Never
Right,
defended the
right. And it
title.
does look like Alvarez did vacate that WBO
But
heavyweight
I don't
title.
understand why would you do that? Why would you move up? He did the same thing when he won the world title at super middleweight. He never defended the title. Same situation now with the light
Man,
heavyweight title. You win the title, defend the title. Why would you? Why would you
Man,
not?
you already know what they're. You already know the game. I mean, look, in my opinion, he just did that to win a title in another weight class, so he can say,
You know,
he's a four division champ or whatever he is now. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see why. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you defend the title? Um, it just doesn't make. It doesn't make any sense to me. You would have to. You went up to the light heavyweight division knowing you could beat an old, run down fighter that admitted that he wasn't in the best shape,
Right,
and Kovalev that admitted that he wasn't ready, that admitted that he did it for the money. All of these things that he said, all these excuses that he came up with after the fight, because at the end of the day, that's what they are. They're
right.
excuses. But nonetheless, I mean, you got to give all credit to Canelo for winning the title despite of the situation. Stay there, defend the title, make a title defense. If I mean, you're there already. You're a world champion already. Make, but Eleider Alvarez, Joe Smith, how would you and be bold and some of these other guys that you mentioned at the light heavyweight division, because it is a stacked division. How would you match up Canelo with any of the top light heavyweights in the world right now? Even a fighter like Joe Smith. How would you assess that
Me
fight?
personally,
Yeah,
Manny, if I'm being honest, I don't like. If I'm Canelo's management, I don't
yeah,
like staying at light heavyweight because Canelo, if we're being honest, I mean, he's not that tall of a guy. And I think
he's short,
and
right?
I think I think his body's frame is probably, if we're being honest, that of like a middleweight at best.
At the
At
most,
best,
right?
yeah.
At the most, at
I
best,
mean,
yes, you're
maybe a
right.
junior middleweight even, So I just I don't think it's a good idea for him to stay there. I definitely don't think it would be a good idea for him to fight Bivol, who can box and is pretty
Right,
strong. Beterbiev, who fought Usyk, Manny, in the amateurs. I
right.
mean, who's a heavyweight now. Beterbiev could probably fight in the heavyweight division if he really wanted to.
Wow. If you wanted to, right?
And definitely not Joe Smith. He's too damn physical and too damn big,
Yeah,
man.
he's physical, strong,
He punched he
strong. I mean,
punched Bernard
honestly, this
Hopkins.
is
He punched Bernard
yes, he did.
Hopkins out of a stadium.
Yes. Yeah, he knocked him out the ring. Remember that. Honestly, this is the best I've ever seen Joe Smith.
Wow.
The best I've ever seen Joe Smith.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, this is his best, in my opinion, his best performance ever. I mean, in my opinion, I watched him fight several times. He broke his jaw. Sullivan Barrera broke his
Right,
jaw in a
right.
fight.
That was a great fight too, yeah.
When that was a great fight, Sullivan Barrera ain't no pushover either. And Sullivan broke his jaw in a fight and beat him by decision. He wasn't able to knock him out. Wasn't able to take him out. But the point here is that Joe Smith never quit.
Right.
Reminds me of Oscar Valdez when he fought Scott Quake.
Yeah.
Never quit.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
The difference was Oscar did win. Joe Smith didn't win.
Right. Joe Smith is a hard dude, though. That's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
when I think of Joe Smith, Manny, I just think of an aggressive, come forward, like tough guy. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, for
By
sure.
the way, Manny,
This is
by the way, big shout out to Kevin from Chicago with the super chat donation. He says, respect George and Manny for the great show. Thank you for the support, guys. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below, the bell notification icon next to it. Join Knucklehead Nation. Join me and Manny every Monday at 7 p.m. live. And, all your donations are greatly appreciated. They go towards building the channel and building the promotion and so much more. So thank you guys for your generosity. Also, Manny, let's not forget we've got Keep It Clean gear and Fighters Rep gear in the link below. That includes masks. So if you want something for your investment, something to show that you're a fan of the show, hit the link below in the description. Get your Keep It Clean shirt or mask. Manny, Joe Smith,
Yes.
a tough guy. You touched on Canelo. That's the other topic I wanted to kind of get into today.
the politics in boxing.
Oh, my goodness.
Politics in boxing. Look, Dillian Whyte waited forever to get an opportunity to at a shot at a world title, WBC heavyweight title, which he never got, unfortunately. And look what happened Saturday night. Povetkin put him out. There goes his opportunity, right? There goes his chance.
Unless he earns it. Unless he earns it again, Manny.
Listen to this. I got a good one for you. Dillian Whyte waits forever to get that shot, a shot at the title that never came, a fight that never was versus Tyson Fury. But Canelo now is the mandatory for the super middleweight title, WBC title.
Incredible.
A title that Benavidez lost on the scale.
Manny, I'm going to throw up if you keep telling me this stuff.
Benavidez loses the title on the scale.
It's wild.
Wins the fight.
It's
eventually
wild.
goes on and wins the fight. But the very next day, maybe even the same day, the moment they found out that Benavidez was no longer a champion due to him not making weight.
Right.
At that moment, we're making Canelo the mandatory for the WBC super middleweight title.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, man. Wow.
Well, and by the way, listen to this. By the way, there's no elimination. He's going to fight for that world title. They're giving him an opportunity to fight for the super middleweight world title. Yes, you follow me? Versus
this is why we included Canelo in the title versus Yildirim, and I'm very confused.
Right.
So I need you to explain this to me, because maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm confused. I need you to explain this to me, Manny. How is it David Benavidez wins that fight? I understand he doesn't have the title because he missed weight. How is it that David Benavidez doesn't get a shot at that? Why are they...
He cannot get... No, that I agree with. Because there's got to be some kind of punishment for him not making weight.
Manny,
he's got to go back.
They took the guy's belt. They took the guy's belt.
They didn't take his belt. He didn't make weight.
Right, so he doesn't have his belt anymore.
They stripped him from his belt. Nobody took anything. He lost the belt because he didn't make weight. Therefore, and what are you gonna instead of punishing the guy, instead of sending him back to the end of the line to work his way up again to fight, get a shot at the title, you're gonna give him the gift, not a gift, but what's the right word I'm looking for? You're going to
an opportunity, reward him with an opportunity
to fight for the title again, despite of. You can't do that, George.
Manny, hear me out.
George, I'm sorry, but
okay, I get it. Hear me out, though, Manny. Hear me out. The guy, my understanding is when you miss weight, as a promoter, I deal with CSAC too. You miss weight, They take 20% of your purse or whatever it is. They give it to the other guy. That's one punishment. You also lost your belt. I mean, you're not the champ anymore. So for me,
so why would you can't lose your belt and then fight for the world title again right away?
But Manny,
you gotta earn that right. So you gotta, and I agree with that.
So will they put Avni Yildirim in there, Manny? Avni Yildirim? Manny, it's looking like Canelo is going to fight.
Is he in the rankings?
Ay, coño, Manny. I don't know, bro. I don't think this guy is. I don't think this guy is.
No, look.
I don't think this guy is champ material, man. I don't think this guy's champ material.
No, come on. George, that's why this is the reason why you have rankings.
Yeah.
This is the reason why just because you don't know the guy, that doesn't mean he's not a good fighter.
Manny, I know the guy, but I'm saying Benavidez is I mean, if I'm gonna look at it as to who deserves the fight and who doesn't, right?
Go ahead,
that's the point of view I'm looking at. And I totally understand if you don't agree with me, because you're a hardcore guy. You think the guy needs to be punished, and I get it. I think he does need to be punished. It's not about being a
hardcore guy. It's like you gotta have. There's rules.
Yeah, but
there's rules. You cannot award him. That's the word I'm looking for. You cannot award him an opportunity to fight for the world title right away when he just lost the title on the scale.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then why punish him then?
Manny,
well, he didn't make weight, but we're gonna go ahead and let him keep the belt. You can't do that.
But look who they're.
What I'm saying is, they made Canelo the moment they found out that Benavidez did not make weight, therefore he loses the title on the scale. The moment that happened is that they went ahead and made Canelo the mandatory to this other guy, or any other guy for that matter. But the point here is that now Canelo's the mandatory. Why is Canelo the mandatory? Because he's a cash cow, man.
Right.
That's what I'm getting at. He's a cash cow. And the sanctioning body, any sanctioning body for that matter, would love to have Canelo as their champion, because you got sanctioning body fees.
Of course.
This guy's making millions.
Of course, Manny.
This guy's making millions. So what does that mean? That the sanctioning body is also getting their cut.
I get it. I know, absolutely.
You get where I'm going with it?
Absolutely.
They're getting their cut, and it's big money. It's big money, man.
Manny, my point is, and let me try to summarize. So this guy, I think it's enough of a punishment, and I might be wrong. People disagree with me. I think it's enough of a punishment for you to lose your title, for you to have to pay that penalty. Now, instead of Canelo having to fight the guy who's the best fighter at super middleweight, which I think me and you both agree is David Benavidez.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to go in there, allegedly, and now I could be wrong, but I'm hearing he's going to go in there against an Avni Yildirim, a guy who was last in the ring on February 2019 and lost to Anthony Durrell in his last fight. And then before...
That was his last fight and he lost?
Yeah, he lost his last fight against Anthony Durrell, I believe. Yeah, and then before
you think you can
that...
make it any easier for... You think you might as well just give Canelo the
belt? That's what I'm saying. That's what's driving me crazy, Manny, about this fight. I would rather see David Benavidez in there. And then look, you know Chris Eubank, right? I mean, he's an okay fighter. He's a strong physical guy, but he's not like a boxing, specimen. Chris Eubank knocked out Avni Yildirim in October of 2017, just, less than 3 years ago. Knocked him out. Knocked him out cold.
They can definitely find a tougher, if you look at the rankings, if you want to go by the WBC rank, and then you find a tougher opponent, or number one versus number two for that matter. Once you lose the title, right, Benavidez got his title stripped. So therefore, who's number one and who's number two?
Yeah,
whoever number one and number two is, they should fight. Or guess what? or do what the WBO did with Joe Smith versus Eleider Alvarez. Again, this was Canelo's belt. Why not do a double elimination? Number 1 versus number 4 versus number 2 versus number 2 versus number 3 or something like that. And then, but no, right away, Canelo versus this individual that you just mentioned. And he lost his last fight. So,
yeah, that's why this is, in this situation, Manny, I agree with you 100%. David Benavidez needs to get his shit together, okay? I agree. I agree, but who the hell else are we going to... I mean, it looks like such a setup, Manny. It looks like such a setup.
Let me ask you something real quick. You have... you can go on... you sit on the computer there and check the rankings.
Yes.
The WBC rankings. And let me know who the top super middleweights are in the WBC.
I'm going to let you know right now.
Give me the top 5.
Okay.
Forget the top 10.
You know what? In the top 5, there are guys I'd rather see. Avni Yildirim is ranked number 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
After losing his last bout.
And
they got him ranked number 1. Wow, incredible.
That's... I don't know. I mean, let me just make let me make sure. Yes, Anthony Durrell. It was his last fight. He lost February 23rd, 2019. That was his last fight. Next up is a guy you've never heard of in your life. I don't think his last name is Abdugofarov, and it looks like he's either. No. I think he's from Uzbekistan or maybe Kazakhstan. I can't tell. I can barely see the flag there, but one of those countries, I believe. Then it's David Lemieux. Hell, Manny, I would rather see David Lemieux.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Manny.
Yes.
Then you got.
I'd rather see David Lemieux versus Canelo. Yes. Yeah. Me too.
And then you got. Listen to this one. Daniel Jacobs, a new super middleweight.
A rematch. Why not?
Let's do it. Then you've got Chudanov. Ryder.
What Chudanov? Dmitry Chudanov or Fedor Chudanov? Which one?
Let me see here. Fedor Chudanov.
Fedor. I used to train that guy.
There you go.
I used to work with that guy a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, he's up there, man.
He's another former world champion, by the way.
He's up there. Then you've got John Ryder, the one that I told you about that, should have been given the decision against Callum Smith and got ripped off. He's ranked number 7. I mean, to be honest with you, Manny, even the worst, some of the worst guys on this list are just as notable as Yildirim, in my opinion. Right. I mean, I don't think Yildirim is better than Danny Jacobs. I don't think he's better than David Lemieux. So
I've never seen him fight for once.
Yeah.
So I'm just going off of what you're telling me. He lost his last fight, but look, let me tell you something about boxing and boxers in general. Every fighter is one fight away from the big time. All they need is an opportunity. A lot of these fighters we've never heard of. Nobody ever heard of Manny Pacquiao until he, beat Waba when he first came to America and won the IBF 122-pound title.
Right.
But before that, prior to that, nobody ever heard of Manny Pacquiao. And even coming into the fight, and he won the title, and from that point on, he just became a superstar. Then eventually he fought Barrera and so forth and so on. Like many other fighters, look, Manny Pacquiao was never an Olympian. Manny Pacquiao was never no one ever heard about it here in America until he, again, like I said, until he won that world title the first time. I remember that night, like if it was yesterday, he dominated this guy and eventually got the knockout. He looked great against a solid, like Waba, 122-pound champion back then. Anyway, there's other fighters in the same situation. Who's to say that this kid won't come in and beat Canelo? You just don't. We don't know that.
Right.
And that's the beauty of the sport. That's the beauty of the sport of boxing, is that sometimes, look at Andy versus Anthony Joshua. You know, I mean, whoever would have thought that Andy would come in and knock out the great, Anthony Joshua, and look what he did.
Or
He just
Povetkin.
don't.
We didn't
Or
expect
Povetkin versus
Povetkin.
Dillian
Yeah,
Whyte.
yeah.
I don't. It's not. Well, Povetkin is an Olympian, gold medalist
Right,
Olympian.
right, right,
He's
right,
got
right.
He's got a nice resume.
But 40 years
Multiple gold
old,
titles.
we thought White was
Yeah,
surging. You got Povetkin
right.
40. I mean, it was an upset. I thought it was an
Yeah,
upset.
but I'm talking about guys like you that people have never heard of, like
Right,
this
right,
individual
right,
that you said
right,
that
right.
that's the mandatory to Canelo for the WBC super middleweight.
You're right.
You just we never know. Yeah, that's the beauty of boxing and the sport is like there's no such thing as luck. Luck is where opportunity and preparation meet.
Yeah.
That's you gotta prepare. Once you prepare, you get the opportunity. You get the opportunity to take advantage of that opportunity the best way you can, the best way possible, and anything can happen, man.
Manny,
Anything can happen in boxing.
what stinks to me, Manny, is I
Yeah.
understand that he's the cash cow. I
Right.
understand he's the lottery ticket in boxing. But at some point, we also got to have some respect for the integrity of the sport. I mean, you go up to light heavyweight, you fight the guy, that's the weakest link there. You drop, and now
Right.
you're going to drop back down to super middleweight. You're going to fight the
Right.
guy that's the weakest link there. I
Right.
mean, let's be
Right.
honest, it's at some point, I think there has to be a little bit more respect for the sport, especially for a guy in Canelo who I believe, because he's the trendsetter, because he's the cash cow, I mean, he's the one setting the example, Manny. He's the
Who
one.
does Canelo remind you of right now?
Floyd Mayweather. Floyd
Rest my
Mayweather.
case.
Right.
You know, he became the cash. Now he's become the cash cow. He pretty much decides who he wants to fight next, when he wants to fight next, where he wants to where he just he's a cash cow, man.
Yeah.
He's a moneymaker right now. And I don't see too
Manny.
horizon isn't too bright for Canelo right now.
Manny, I'm gonna ask that you repeat it because you cut out for like 5 seconds there, brother.
What I'm saying is that things aren't looking too bright for Canelo right now as far as him fighting again in September, Mexican independence. He didn't fight in May. From the looks of it, he's not fighting in September. And you kind of think, what's going on? What's going on with Canelo?
Yeah.
Who's he fighting next? What makes us think he's going to take a fight? He's going to fight this guy for the super middleweight title, WBC super middleweight title.
If I'm Canelo, I fight this guy. If I'm Canelo, I fight this guy, Yildirim. For Mexican Independence Day, I make a buttload of money. But it's my understanding. I mean, DAZN is not just accepting any old fight. I mean, they want a premier fight. They want a return on their investment. So it is a little tricky now.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. This, unfortunately, the situation, as I said before, isn't helping. With the virus. The virus is hurting everybody, hurting promoters, everyone in boxing, boxers, managers, coaches. It's really kicking our ass, and we're losing out on some great fights because of the situation. The only promoters out there doing shows and staying busy are Top Rank, Eddie Hearn with Matchroom Boxing, and they're starting to pick up on their shows and their events. On my buddy's backyard.
Eddie Hearn's backyard.
Eddie Hearn's backyard, right? And then now you have PBC and with Showtime and Fox that they just had a show on Saturday with Sean Porter. Things are slowly starting to get going again. Look at unfortunately for Golden Boy, they just had to cancel a show. The second show they canceled. Yeah. They've only had one show since the coronavirus outbreak.
Wow.
Which was the Virgil Ortiz.
Right.
They canceled the show. Ryan Garcia, remember that show back in July, if I'm not mistaken, where he refused to fight. so the whole card fell off. And then now again with Linares testing positive for the coronavirus, so
Oh
the
man.
whole card fell off again. And it's so things aren't looking too bright as far as Golden Boy and their events are concerned. And it sucks for the fighters. It sucks for the fighters. Like I said, Linares, he's out. Unfortunately, he tested positive. But what about everyone else?
Right.
What about all of the other fighters that they work with? Now what?
I get it,
You
Manny.
know,
I get it. I mean, I haven't
you
done a
know.
show since the end of February, Manny. I'm dying over here myself,
Well,
brother.
see, the difference is you have your day job, George,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
for sure, for sure.
These guys, the majority of these fighters, this is their livelihood.
Yeah, yeah.
This is how they make a living. This is how they how they're able to support their families, how they pay for their rent or their mortgage payments or their car payments or put food on the table for their families. If they don't fight, then what?
Yeah, it's
How,
horrible.
you know what I mean, it's just it's terrible, man. It sucks. It sucks. I really feel for some of these fighters that are really struggling right now, and a lot of fighters, unfortunately, they have no other means to support their families. So they have, maybe in some cases, they have to quit box. They have to quit boxing. They have to go get a job.
Right.
And you know how hard it is to find a job nowadays. But, the situation. Man, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah,
What do you do, man?
that's a tough one, Manny. Speaking of, finding a job, you brought up De La Hoya. You brought up De La Hoya not too long ago. It looks like he wants to, change his job title from promoter to boxer again, Manny. Um, I don't know, Manny. I don't know about this
I don't
one,
know, man.
brother.
I don't know. You got to thank Mike Tyson and Roy Jones for that one,
Yeah,
huh?
man. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, Oscar's probably telling himself, if they can do it, I can do it.
Right.
But Oscar's a promoter. Oscar's, he's got one of the top promotional companies in the world. Oscar should focus. Again, I just finished explaining to you and talking to you about these boxers that are with Golden Boy that haven't had any fights. I think Oscar should focus more on these kids.
I love
Oscar
it.
doesn't
I
have any
love it.
need. Oscar has no need to fight. He's
Right.
got. I believe he's got enough money in the bank to not have to worry about anything for the rest of his life. But what about these other kids that are up and comers? What about these kids that, like I said, this is the only means, the only way for them to make money to provide for their families. So I believe Oscar should focus more and think a little more, about think and be more concerned for his fighters and for putting boxing back on the map or Golden Boy back on the map and keeping them busy, putting money in their pockets because they're hurting.
I couldn't agree more. I actually did a post, Manny. Like, it's pretty funny. I actually did a post about this on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I said, De La Hoya's coming back to fight now. I said, don't we have enough talent in the vicinity, in the immediate vicinity, to keep us busy promoting? Man, are you still there? Yeah, yeah. I was saying, like,
Yes, I am.
I mean, just here in the immediate area, Los Angeles. We've got 1 million kids that want to fight, and I agree. I do think we should be concentrating on the fighters right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's not enough shows out there. Uh, and you gotta get things going back again. You gotta get as far as Golden Boy's concerned, because I see other promoters getting getting busy now. I mentioned PBC. I mentioned Top Rank. They're the first ones to get back boxing back on the map again, and now Eddie Hearn and so forth. So now Golden Boy.
Yeah. No, I did. Did you watch Eddie Hearn's card, by the way, Manny? Besides that Dillian Whyte fight?
No, because I was watching the Top Rank card.
Got
The
you.
Top Rank.
Got you.
Uh-huh.
There was a guy on the undercard that I loved it, Manny. His name was Alan the Savage Babbage. It was this. He was basically he's like a bouncer from Croatia who's been sparring with Dillian Whyte, and the guy really is just a savage. He had only 3 fights, and he went against 13-3 Shondell winners from the United States, and just tore him apart in 2 rounds.
Oh, wow.
This guy's style, Manny, is just
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious. Apparently he's had, and by hilarious, I mean in a good way, he just bum rushes people and gets them out of there. And apparently he had 100 amateur fights, and 60 of those amateur fights ended in knockouts. These are amateur fights. Yeah.
Wow, impressive.
So
Impressive.
I thought he was a lot of fun to watch. Manny, we're gonna switch over now to the questions, comments. If you guys have anything you want to tell me or Manny, you could feel free to let us know in the chat. And also, again, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon below, get your gear in the links below, and also follow me at Fighters Rep on Instagram, right there at the bottom of your screen, or Manny at Manuel Boxing, right there at the bottom of your screen. So David Castellanos is in here, Manny. He says, "What's up, Mr. Manny Robles?"
What's up?
Let's see here. Yes TV says, "Fighter's instinct when the chips are down." And he wrote that, Manny, when we were talking about Alexander Povetkin.
Right.
A dangerous guy, especially when he's hurt, Manny.
When he's hurt. Yeah, I've said that in the past. A fighter's more dangerous when he's hurt.
Yeah.
You know, you think you got him out, you think you step in and you move in for the kill, and all of a sudden, boom, a punch comes out of nowhere and
ends your night.
yeah.
Robert Lopez is in here. He says, "I seen Povetkin setting that punch even before by leaning to the left after White kept throwing his jab."
He did his homework.
Yeah.
He did his homework. I'm sure that was part of the game plan, and it worked.
What a scary, dangerous guy, Manny, at 40 years old to be able to do something like that, brother.
Yeah.
Kevin from Chicago.
And then you know what they say in boxing, right, George?
What?
You're only as good as your last fight.
That's right. Kevin from Chicago, the one that donated. Thank you for your generosity, Kevin. He says, "Could you ask Manny about high guard defense? Seems like White and Alvarez both got rocked with high guard. Didn't see the shot coming." What do you think about that, man?
Well, no, definitely. Look, I see what he's talking about. You gotta sit. You gotta be able to sit on your punches and kind of sit down a little bit. So the moment you sit, you're able to protect top and bottom. But if you're fighting with a high guard defense and standing straight up, you're either going to abandon the lower part of your body or the head. So it's in my particular case, I like to teach my fighters to sit on their punches, to lean down a little bit, bend the knees, sit, and this way you're set, you're in position to attack, you're in position to defend. And really, that's what that is, being able to protect yourself. Position to attack and position to defend. Find that comfort in being able to sit on your punches.
I love it, Manny. Knowledge from Manny Robles there. And, Manny, one thing I noticed about Dillian Whyte, too, and I think it was part of the reason he got knocked out, was besides using that high guard, I felt like Povetkin kept throwing that same pattern, high to the head and then low left hook to the body. And I felt like Dillian Whyte was dipping down with the high guard, dipping down to protect the body. And eventually he almost dipped down into the uppercut a little bit there. But
dipping, putting your head down, leaning forward instead of sitting down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what is it? It's the center, finding the center of gravity.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Finding the center of gravity. and then not leaning forward or back, but being able to find that fine center and being again sitting on your punches and keeping your equilibrium, keeping your shoulders even.
I love it.
Not leaning one way or the other.
I love it, man. I love
that's
it.
where Dillian Whyte made that mistake, dipping down.
I love it, man. And I see you teach your boxers that at the couple of occasions I've had the pleasure of coming to the gym. Joseph says, but whose fault was it for not making weight? I believe he's talking about Benavidez there. Obviously, I think it was Benavidez' fault. Kevin from Chicago says, quality boxing talk. Thank you for that, Kevin. Much appreciated, brother. Moon Knight, thank you for joining the channel, brother. He says, hey, Manny, are you and Andy good mates? Do you think Andy could learn something from his new camp?
What camp?
I guess he's with Manny. I guess Andy Ruiz with Capetillo. I don't know where he's at. I don't know.
I don't know. The last they announced months ago. They announced they made an announcement of what's his name, Canelo's coach, Eddie Reynoso would take over the head job or the lead of training Andy Ruiz, but that hasn't happened yet. I don't think they've worked once, and this was announced months ago.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. What camp? Because Andy's all over the place. So I don't know. And apparently he's got a tentative fight date, right? Apparently he might end up fighting
Chris Arreola.
Chris Arreola, thank you. He might. There's talks of him fighting Chris Arreola. Just he's got to get it. He's got to get his act together.
I really
got to get his act together, man.
I really don't like that fight. I really don't like that fight, Manny.
Yep.
Kirky Kernsevich is giving us a round of applause. Appreciate that, brother. Joseph, man, he says, but Benavidez was going to fight Yildirim after this guy. So if Benavidez fought him next, was that a cherry pick?
Well, look, I'll put it to you like this: it's politics, and you look at what happened to Dillian Whyte. I mean, look how long they made him wait. What makes you think they're gonna make this guy wait another year or two? You know what I mean? They gotta, and this is what happens: is people have to understand this. In boxing, you got your mandatory, and then you got your optional, right? So your optional fight, that is, you got to fight someone within the top, ranked in the top 10 in the world, sometimes the top 15 in the world.
Yeah.
So you defend your title, you do your mandatory defense, and then you get an optional fight. I believe this was this optional fight, this last one that he had versus a Colombian boxer.
Yeah.
And then now came the mandatory. But then again, there was also talks of Benavidez unifying the title, right?
Right.
What's the name of this kid?
Caleb Plant.
Caleb Plant. Thank you. There was talks of him, and Benavidez and Caleb Plant, unifying titles. So maybe that was next.
You see, Manny, it's perfect that you bring that up, man, and I feel like we're really complimenting each other today, because what Joseph is trying to imply in this message by saying, would that have been a cherry pick? What he's saying is, so I'm kind of calling Canelo out for cherry picking Yildirim. That's what I'm doing, and I felt like he.
But that's not. But it would look on Canelo's defense. Canelo never said he wanted to fight this guy. Canelo never picked this guy. The WBC is making this fight the
man,
not a title eliminator, but I guess number 1 versus number 2,
right.
You know what I'm saying? No, that's what I'm saying. So it's not gonna. Canelo never even said he wants to fight.
Well, here's the thing, Manny. My understanding is that Canelo, and this is what I'm hearing through the grapevine, that Canelo actually phoned Mauricio Suleiman, said he wanted to fight this guy. That's what I'm hearing in the grapevine. But my point is.
So now what? So what is Mauricio saying?
Well,
Whatever you say, okay, Canelo, you want to fight this guy? No,
Right, right.
no.
Well, my point is though, Manny. My point is, Benavidez fighting this guy next would not have been a cherry pick the way it is Canelo, because Benavidez would be attempting to unify the division, perhaps, or continuing to defend his mandatory belt in the division that he's trying to unify, whereas Canelo's kind of going up and down in weight. We don't know where he's going
All
to
over the
stay
place,
at.
right?
You know,
He's
so
all over the.
so that's why I see it more as a cherry pick if Canelo's doing it versus Benavidez, because I still
Right.
believe Benavidez wants to be a super middleweight. I don't know
Look,
what
I
Canelo
still
wants to
believe.
do.
I still want to see the. I still believe Benavidez is the best super middleweight in the world. I
Agreed.
still believe that.
Agreed.
He made a mistake. He didn't make weight. There's no excuse for it. He should be punished. But outside of that, you know what? He gets his act together. He gets back in the gym. He does things right. He makes 168 again, and he'll shut us all up. But I believe that Benavidez is definitely the best super middleweight in the world at this moment.
I think I agree, and I think Caleb Plant and Callum Smith are close. And I would like to see all those guys fight. Joseph follows
Right.
up, man. He says, and after that, Benavidez said he wanted to fight Caleb Plant for a mega fight with Canelo. He also stated that he prefers to fight Caleb next rather than Canelo. I think that would be the best outcome for
Yeah,
everybody.
of course, if he would have made weight,
Right, right.
but he didn't. So how far is that? How far back is that gonna set Benavidez?
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully not too bad, because they're really, I mean, I don't see any other fights that I want there, Manny. Those are the
Right.
fights
Of
we
course, we
want.
all want to see Benavidez, but unfortunately, like I said, there's no excuse for him not making weight. He's got to get it right.
Right.
He's got to get back in the gym. He's got to be more disciplined. You can't blame the coronavirus for you not making the weight class. I'm sorry, but everyone else is making weight. I don't see why you can't. But that doesn't take anything away from his performance and the fighter that he is. He's an incredible fighter, man, and he's only 22 years old. My goodness.
For sure. Joseph says,
Sky's the limit.
Manny, that Kovalev was ranked number 1 at the time he fought Canelo at 175. In my opinion, Manny, people could call out the rankings and say whatever they like. Kovalev was the worst light heavyweight champion at that time. Bivol being better and Beterbiev being better, but we can agree to disagree, Joseph.
Fighting the right fighters at the right time. Come on, Oscar De La Hoya did it when he fought Chavez.
Right, right.
He fought him towards the end of his career when he was not the same fighter that he once was. Pernell Whitaker.
Right.
Hector Macho Camacho. He fought all of these guys that had huge names, and he used those names to his benefit. And you sit there and look at his resume, say, look at all the world champions he fought and fighters he defeated. And some of those fighters were no longer in their prime, but he beat them anyway. Fighting the fighters at the right time. Mayweather did it. Mayweather fought Gennaro Chicanito Hernandez at the right time when he first became a world champion at 130 pounds.
Yeah.
Chicanito was the best junior lightweight in the world at that moment, but we all understood that he was only getting older, that he had lost a couple steps, and Mayweather came in and fought him at the right time, man, and he became a world champion, and the rest is history.
For sure, for sure. Joseph says Canelo's heading to PBC, Manny, because DAZN is playing chess with the face of boxing. He also says
Canelo ain't going anywhere, guys. He ain't going nowhere. He's got a contract. He's got a contract with PBC. He's got a contract with Golden Boy. Canelo's kids have a contract with Golden Boy. Canelo's kids got a.
Yeah, he ain't leaving. I don't think he's leaving the zone, man.
So he ain't going nowhere, guys.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Joseph then says, Canelo hasn't fought in a year. Why wouldn't he be able to get a tune-up fight? He also wants to fight in December.
Yeah, possibly. It'll be interesting if we get a chance to see Canelo fight before the end of the year. Like I said, he missed two huge fight dates. He's missing two huge fight dates in Cinco de Mayo and now Mexican Independence, as we all know in boxing. Those 2 dates have been huge for boxing in the past with Oscar. I'm sorry, with Chavez, starting with Chavez, and then Oscar, and then Mayweather, then Pacquiao, and now Canelo, and what's happening?
Yeah, yeah.
What's
What
happening?
what
Where's
a
Canelo?
shame.
What's going on?
Kirky Ivan Kernovich says, "This man like you, brother. Appreciate you. He's giving us a thumbs up." Robert Lopez says, "Great information, Manny. You as a trainer, would you focus first on teaching defense or offense?"
I think, look, my dad used to tell me this, and a long time ago, my dad would say this: anybody can throw punches, but not anybody can defend. Not everybody has a good
I
defense.
like that,
But
man.
you pick anybody. You can pick anybody in the line, and any kid can throw punches. Anybody can throw, but not everyone has a good defense. So I, for one, focus a lot on defense. Even sometimes I don't get to get a whole lot of credit, and people don't look. I'll give you a perfect example. When I first started working with Oscar Valdez, became a world champion, and great fighter. But man, when I first started working with Oscar, Jesus, man, this guy had zero defense, and I made it my goal, my priority to make sure that I I did the best I could to teach him defense, and he did learn. I mean, he got a lot better, a lot more than what people give me credit for because but like I said again, you should have seen this guy when I first started working. When he launch in and throw hail marys, you ask him for a jab, he'd throw an overhand right. You ask him to go to the body, he'd throw a jab. Stuff like that. He would. So I had to. It took me a while, but I managed to get his defense. I want to say a lot better than when I first started working with him. So that's one thing that I always strive.
Man, are you there?
Yeah.
Manny, I think I lost you again, brother. There you are. Okay, you're
Oh man.
back. You're back. You're back.
Oh jeez, not
No,
again.
it's good. You're back. You're back.
I was just talking about defense and talking about how I try to focus on defense more than anything. Anybody, as I was telling you, my dad used to say, anybody can throw punches, but not anybody can defend.
For sure, for sure. And Manny, it looks like we have one final question here, and I appreciate you guys joining us. Definitely hit subscribe if you haven't already. We got YRT in here saying, Manny, do you think Joshua Ruiz trilogy fight will actually happen?
Mm. Oh man, Andy's got to get back in the gym and fight before that ever happens. I mean, it's already gonna be a year, guys, since his last fight. Not, Joshua. He's got a fight lined up. He's got to defend. He's got to do his mandatory. Which is speaking of mandatories, he's got to do his IBF mandatory, and then there's talks of him fighting, the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So I can see that happening first, and maybe somewhere along the line, Andy might get a crack at the world title once again. But Andy's got to get his act together. Excuse my French. He's got to get his shit together. He's got to get back in the gym. He's got to get right.
For sure, Manny. I'd love to see the heavyweight division achieve some sort of clarity. And Eric Langarica says Andy Ruiz is going down in a spiral. Let's hope not. Let's hope he gets his stuff together.
Yeah.
Along with David Benavidez, man. Come on, David. We need you to lose weight and be on time for your for your fights, brother. But
Right. He'll
knuckleheads.
get it.
But knuckleheads, that's pretty much all we've got for you today. Appreciate all the questions and comments, Manny. Another great time with you, brother. Anything you want to say before we let you go here?
Anything I want to say? No, I'll see you guys next week. There's some great fights. Don't forget to watch the Jose Ramirez fight this Saturday night. Should be a great fight. And what else? What other fights are out there that you know of, George?
Oh man, I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but definitely support Chris Zavala, right? He's going to be fighting on that
Support my
undercard.
boys. So that's as a matter of fact, that's support my boy. Support the boy, Chris Zavala. That's his nickname. That's his boxing name. And this will be his 7th professional fight. We're going up against a tough kid, 8-1 with an 8-1 record. So no easy fight, no tune-up fight here. And hopefully, God willing, we'll walk away with the win, and we'll be talking about it a week from today.
Awesome, Manny. Well, guys, thank you again so much for joining us. It was another fantastic evening of talking boxing with Manny. If you want to keep it clean with us, be sure to subscribe below, hit the bell notification icon, join us, join Knucklehead Nation, and we'll see you next week with Manny at 7 p.m. Keep it clean, guys. We're out of here.